So let's talk about this guy, Sonny Mercurio. Angelo Mercurio was his actual name. He was born up in Boston in 1936. He died in Little Rock, Arkansas, December 11, 2006. He had heart problems. He was a member of the Patriarcha family, but he came into the family later on, but he was a lifelong criminal. He had been a prolific FBI informer from 87 to 89. He did a lot of damage to the mob up there. He helped bring down the Patriarcha family, basically. By one thing he did was to bug an induction ceremony. First time it was done in this country. I think it may have been the first time it was done anywhere, actually. And that led to the convictions of a lot of guys. The bugging itself came to light during a trial for Frank Salmi. When the court found that out, Raymond Patriarca Jr. was dragged in. He had to plead guilty to racketeering. He headed the ceremony. He had to plead guilty to racketeering and conspiracy in 1991. He spent 7 years in a prison in Michigan. When he got out, for all anybody knows, he really just gave up on the mob. He is, I think, a real estate investor now in Rhode Island. Mercurio was placed in the Federal Witness Protection Program, as I said. He died in natural causes. His lawyer, Mark Liston, said that Mercurio regretted being an informant. He said he was ashamed. He spent years constantly waiting for some wannabe to come and take him out. That's sad. In 1954, at age 18, Mercurio was an accomplice in a hold-up slash murder in Revere, Mass. He got life in prison for that. But in 1964, he was pardoned by Governor John Volpe. Um, Actually, when he had it all up, he did 8 years for robbing and murdering a guy. That doesn't seem right. He should have done more time than that. He returned to prison again, 78 to 86, for trying to sell 23 million in stolen securities and what he called an FBI entrapment. You know, don't sell 23 million in stolen securities. This won't happen to you. When he came out of prison, Mercurio was pissed off. He was disgruntled. He felt that the Patriarchas should have helped him and his family, but no money came. Uh, Mercurio then went back into the mob anyway. He became a liaison between the Irish Winter Hill Gang and the Mafia. During the 1980s, the FBI got hold of incriminating evidence on Mercurio by surveillance, electronic surveillance, at an upscale, very successful, by the way, upscale Italian food shop he ran in Prudential Tower in Boston. Uh, the Mafia occasionally used that shop as a meeting place, and when the FBI figured that out, they had it bugged. Based on the evidence from the bugs in 97, Mercurio was indicted for extortion of local bookmakers. Uh, what he had done, there were two older bookmakers who were making money, and he just felt they weren't paying enough, him and some other people. And anyway, faced with the facts from the FBI, he decided he would become an informant. In June of 89, it was Mercurio who lured Cadillac Frank Salmi to a meeting at a pancake house in suburban Boston where he was ambushed and wounded. They shot him up pretty good. Later that year, Mercurio told the FBI about an upcoming uh, family introduction ceremony at a home in Medford, Mass. I think what happened is they asked him, why did you set this guy up um, for murder? And I think to get off of it, he pulled this out of his magical chest. He said, by the way, there's going to be an introduction ceremony. Does that make you, do you have any interest in that? Of course, they leaped on it. So Mercurio secretly recorded the whole thing. Not only that, he drove Raymond Patriarca Jr. to the ceremony, and he recorded the whole thing. Attendees included, it was like a who's who of mobdom in New England. Raymond Patriarca, the underboss, Nicky Bianco, Joe Russo, who was the consigliere, Capo Regime, Biagio D'Agoma, Vincent Ferraro, you know what? There's a whole lot of names. Robert Groves. The recordings led to the prosecution and conviction of a lot of people. As I said, Patriarca as well. In 1994, Mercurio was convicted in Georgia. He eventually just got the hell out of New England and went down south. He was convicted in Georgia of possessing 150 pounds of marijuana, and he was sent to prison. And then he was also arrested stupidly for shoplifting a $500 fishing reel from a sporting goods store. The manager was a young man, said, "Give me that back," and he said, "No, come and get it." And he ran, but he didn't know the manager was running after him was a sprint long distance guy, and he caught him. So they got him on on the shoplifting thing, but he was released because he gave an alias, um, which was not in the FBI database by luck. Because a chance of a name not being in the FBI database is pretty remarkable. I mean, you know how many names are in there? So a short time later, he was pulled over on suspicion of drunk driving, and this time the fraudulent driver's license was called in, and that was a match. So the FBI was called, and they said, "Look, we got you dead to rights again. You're going away forever this time." So he pled guilty in the Vincent Ferraro case, uh, but they said, "All right, you know what? Since you've helped us out, since you're going to do 10 years on the drug case, we're going to let you do concurrent with the Ferraro case." So in June of 1997, he was brought back to Boston from prison in Georgia to testify at the trial of Frank Salami, who was the boss at the time in New England. His revelation in court, the judge asked him, "Are you an informant?" He said, "Yes." It came as a tremendous surprise to everybody. No one believed that he was an informant. After his testimony, Mercurio was sent back to prison. I hope it was in the secured cell. In 2000, Mercurio's sentence was reduced, though, and he was released from prison. And he entered again the Federal Witness Protection Program, and he was relocated to Arkansas. Now, I should tell you, the Ferrara case was March 22, 1990. Ferrara was indicted on racketeering and related charges with 6 other bad guys, including Mercurio.